This has been the longest week in the world, and I thought today was Thursday, but it's Wednesday. And I've been doing this so much. Like, are you kidding me? That these lines are going to last longer than Tate in the office. Okay. So, Tate issued a statement yesterday. I thought the statement was weak, and let me tell you why. Because he essentially said, as soon as the legislators know exactly what they want, I'll consider calling a special session, which I thought gave a lot of wiggle room. And then after I woke up this morning and started reading some of the articles, that was correct. So now this is what we're going to be seeing, because it started with Delbert and now it's just like trickling down the line. So what you're seeing now from senators and representatives are these statements about how important the People's Initiative process is, how important the people's voice is, how their voice needs to be heard, that they overwhelmingly voted, and we are going to fix this in the legislature in January. So there's a couple reasons for that. Now they're all coming out and saying special sessions are expensive. They are $30,000 to $35,000 a day. That's what the reason that they're giving. That's the talking point now. However, the other reason is that they are hoping that this sort of momentum and aggravation and upset subsides. And so people either get distracted by something else, or people get tired and they sort of give up, and then or they buy into it and say, well, my senator and representative are working hard and they are going to fix this. And so I'm going to let them fix it and let them do their job like they say they're going to. And they're willing to just wait for that, or they're willing to get distracted and go to something else. So now more than ever, it's important that we keep our feet on the gas, and that we have a counter argument to make, and that we continue this fight. And so I wanted to talk to you about special sessions, because we're going to see a lot about how it's going to cost the taxpayer money, and we should save that money and deal with it in January. So I wanted to just let you know some of the other special sessions that have been called. Let me read these so I don't mess them up. All right, so in 2018, there was a special session called that lasted at least 5 days to deal with the settlement funds from the BP lawsuit. In 2017, there was a special session called. 2016, 2 special sessions. 2014, 2 special sessions. 2013, 2 special sessions. 2011, 1 special session. And 2010, 2 special sessions. So it's not a rare occurrence. It's not something that, they can say, well, we hardly ever do this. I just went back 10 years. I mean, it goes further than that, but I just went back 10. And so we have that argument to make. The other argument to make is $30,000 to $35,000 a day pales in comparison to the money and jobs that Initiative 65 was creating for Mississippi, that's now come to a complete standstill. And for decades in this state, we have had problems with employment security and stability. People need more jobs. They need to make more money. That is a huge, huge negative for our state right now. And so that's the one thing. Special sessions are not rare. Number two, $30,000 to $35,000 is not even a drop in the bucket as to what now the Supreme Court, and ultimately the Supreme Court is blaming the legislators, what the Supreme Court and the legislators have failed our state in this process to do. So I thought Governor Reeves' statement was weak. I think that was a huge miscalculation on his part. I think that was whoever is advising him in his office with that statement. If I was governor, I would fire all of them, because this was an opportunity for Governor Reeves. I don't think the opportunity is closed. I think he could still come back stronger and say, you know what, no, these people voted for this. We're coming back. Y'all are fixing this now and giving them what they want, because the people of this state matter. There's a couple of reasons for that. Number one is that over double the people that voted for Tate Reeves voted for medical marijuana in Initiative 65. So he had the opportunity to double his voter base and just completely failed. Was so weak in that statement, failed to take a stand. Delbert's statement is also weak, but Delbert has other motives. You know, this whole time during this lawsuit, Delbert has never come out and taken a stand and said, no, Mayor Mary Hawkins Butler, you're wrong, because I was the Secretary of State that certified this initiative, and I believe 100% that what I did was constitutional and should stand. And that's because he has ulterior motives with 2765. I mean, he hasn't hidden it anywhere. But the other thing I want to say is we as people have to take accountability. And that accountability is who we put in office. And whether that means your mayor, your state representative or state senator, your lieutenant governor, or even your Supreme Court justices. Mississippi has been in the bottom spot for so long. We are not a competitive state. We tend to lose talent and money. We're not an attractive state for economic developments. And we have to say, now, wait a minute, if these people have been elected officials for 20 years, 10 years, hell, even 5 years, and we're still in this position, what are we doing? Why are we electing the same people and the same, sort of whoever the party decides? The one great thing about 65 is that this wasn't a Republican or a Democratic issue. The numbers show that this was just the people united in that. Even people who voted for 65A still voted to have a medical marijuana program. So the numbers are actually higher. So what that says is what I've said from the very beginning with this. The people have outgrown their representation. And I knew that there was going to be some fear on the part of politicians, and there was going to be some pushback because they like to remain in control. I think they got some of that pushback affirmed with the Supreme Court decision. I don't think we've ever seen a more politicized court. And that is because the majority of the justices, I think, in my opinion, were appointed. So we only have 3 that were actually elected by the people. And so I don't know how you're not more politicized when you're appointed by a governor, as opposed to just running and being elected. So I think that we are seeing all of that in place now. And I think the people, this momentum that's going, cannot stop. We can't let up now. We got to keep on our representatives, keep on our senators, tell them that no, we won't stand for anything less than our initiative process coming back and 65 standing, because that's what the people voted on. This was not this was an overwhelming majority vote on that, 74% of the state. I don't buy the arguments, and I think it's incredibly insulting to hear a Supreme Court justice and Representative Jill Ford allude or insinuate or just outright say that the people of Mississippi were too stupid to read 2,500 words and vote on that. I'm just shocked by that statement. I think that is, people should be outraged by that too and disgusted by that, because we obviously can read, and we obviously did read, and we obviously did vote. And so I think that's sort of a cop-out to say, oh, well, y'all just didn't know, y'all didn't read it. But anyway, so I think at some point we got to hold ourselves accountable, but we got to hold the other people accountable too, because whether or not we like them now, they are still in those positions and they need to do what's right. And we can't be detracted or, lose sight of that by being promised that, oh, we're going to fix this in January, or that it's going to cost so much money. We got to watch out for these sort of distractions. I know one of them right now is the abortion issue, and now the U.S. Supreme Court is going to take that up. And, we saw statements about that yesterday and interviews about that yesterday. Governor Reeves was interviewed about that, but not about the ruling or 65. And, that's great and all that that's happening. But I just want to point out that, yet again, talk about missing the mark. Mississippi is number 1 in the country for the most children living in poverty. So the babies that were not aborted, that are living and are in this state, are living in deplorable conditions and in poverty. So what has Governor Reeves and Senator Hyde Smith done to take care of those kids? No, nobody has. All we're seeing now are the Nancy News and Zach News and everybody with Mississippi Families First that were too busy embezzling the funds that are now facing state and federal charges to take care of needy families. They're pocketing it and buying cars and buying houses in Reunion. So I just think it's such a joke that they use these sort of feel-good stories or talking points to get this sort of support behind them when no one has put their money where their mouth is. That hasn't changed. That's not changing. So we have to say enough is enough. We either got to be the change or we just got to shut up about it and be fine living in the poorest state in the country with all of these problems and all these infrastructure problems and all these economy problems and all these employment problems. We just got to suck it up and live with it, because after all, we keep voting these same type of people in that are doing nothing but running the state into the ground, and we're just sitting back. So there's a couple things that are happening. There's a protest next week. I would go check out the Facebook page for We Are the 74. It has sort of the all the information about the protest. There's several other great groups that have some pages out there that are garnering support for this. But I think it's important that the powers that be that of Mississippi see a huge public response. It's one thing to keep calling your representatives and senators, which you absolutely should. Keep calling Tate Reeves. Putting that pressure on to call a special session is important. But it's also very good for them to see bodies and see the people that they're supposed to be representing out there and talking about it. There are some great speakers that are going to speak at the protest about this and about this shocking ruling that everyone, the whole consensus of everyone seems to be that this was very much a surprise, and no one anticipated the Supreme Court going this far and doing this to the people of Mississippi, but they did. So keep the faith, keep everything going, and I am sure that we're going to be talking very soon. Thank you guys. Bye.